God, in His wisdom and understanding, He brought that about. Not only did He have wisdom and understanding, the power to imagine, envision, purpose, plan, but He also had the power to speak and bring it to pass. Now, you mean to tell me that is not work? Then that means we don't understand what work is. That is work, my friend.
I will give you all my worship. I will give you all my praise. You alone I long to worship. You alone are worthy of my praise. I will worship with all of my heart. I will praise you with all of my strength. I will seek you all of my days. I will follow. I will follow all your ways. I will give you all my worship. I will give you all my praise. You alone I long to worship. You alone are worthy of my. I will give you all my worship. I will give you all my praise. You alone I long to worship. You alone are worthy of my praise. I will bow down and hail you as King. I will serve you. I'll give you everything. I will lift up my eyes to your throne. I will trust you. I'll trust you alone. I'll give you all my worship. I'll give you all my praise. You alone I long to worship. You alone are worthy. I'll give you all my worship. I will give you all my praise. You alone I long to worship. You alone are worthy of my praise. I will give you all my worship. I will give you all my praise. You alone I long to worship. You alone are worthy of my praise. I will give you all my worship. I will give you all my praise. You alone I long to worship. You alone. So one more time, I will give you all my worship. I will give you all my praise. You alone I long to worship. You alone are worthy of my praise. Oh, let's give him all our praise.
God, in fact, is very much involved in this material world. He creates it with so much purpose and so much design and put into it. So much he has put into it. He takes pride in it. Read some passages in the Bible where there are passages where God literally boasts about how he has made the world. And, who has weighed the sands and the dirt, who has measured the depth of the seas and so on. That's the way God speaks. Just imagine what kind of wisdom and understanding and ability and power it took to make the world. All right. And also, a lot of people, when you say creation is work, God worked. When you say God worked, then people look at you like that, well, what do you mean God worked? That's not work. He simply said, let there be light. There was light. That's not work. Many years ago, like say 40 years ago, 50 years ago, if you brought a man from the village who's not familiar with all this office work and all that, and showed a man sitting on a table with a piece of paper and writing something in an air-conditioned room, that man would have said, he's working? No, he's not working. Come and see how I work. I get down and I work. I really work and I sweat and I work. This man is not working. He will not acknowledge that his work. Right? Now, even more recently, when the company started allowing people to work at home, I remember I went to one country and I wanted to contact some person. He wanted to come with me as we went to buy something and so on. And I thought, well, he's working from home, so maybe he can just spare some time and come with me and let's purchase this. So I called him and said, you're just working at home. Why don't you come with me now? We'll go buy it. He said, no, I'm working. I thought working from home means it's an easy thing. You can work if you want, not work if you don't want. You can work as you like, and you can sleep a little bit if you want. I had no understanding at that time, just a few years, about how people worked at home, what this working at home business meant. But he told me every minute he's got to be in the computer. They will track every minute of his activity there. And if he's missing, they'll know. He cannot go away for any length of time and come back and not be caught for it, He's got to remain there. After 5 o'clock, I'll go with you, he said. Then only I realized the man is really working. I thought he's having a jolly good time, after all, he's working at home. He doesn't have to take his car, drive such long distances, deal with the traffic and all the nuisance. He's sitting at home, enjoying, having a good time. No. Those people are very clever, Not only are they saving you some gas and some time, travel time and all those things, some pain of travel and all that. You know what they're doing? They're getting more work out of you. All the time that you're not driving, you're working, More work is being done for them. They're very clever people. That's why they're having those companies. All right. Now, God's work of creation, therefore, is actual work. Some people find it hard to believe. They say, well, brother, he said, let there be light, and there was light. You call that work? Big deal. That's not work. Well, I'll tell you how that is work. You just think about how much power and wisdom and understanding and knowledge God had to have and employ to get the creation done. To get the creation. One man was telling me, well, he sits in a nice chair in an air-conditioned office, and he gets so many lakhs as salaries every month, but look at me slogging. As if that everybody can do. If you make this guy sit there, you have to close down the company in a few days, That's why that man is sitting there. That's why he's getting the salary. He's not just putting, one leg over the other and just enjoying his time and getting the big salary. His work is different. He's got to think, he's got to have the wisdom and the understanding, vast knowledge of things, and he's got to deal with stuff that this man can never think of dealing. He neither has the education or the ability or the training or the experience to deal with it. That man is getting paid to do that. That's why he's earning so much. This man thinks that's easy. Anybody can do it. No, anybody can't do it. And the same way, a lot of people look at God and say, well, he said, let there be light, and there was light. Big deal. I can do it. Well, try. Plus, he had so much power. If you had so much power, you better have so much wisdom also and understanding also. Because if everything that you say come to pass, you better be careful about what you say. If the same responsibility is given to some of us, that we had the power to say something and it will come to pass, and we are to exercise that kind of authority and so on and create, we would have created a lot of trouble. A lot of people have created a lot of trouble. A lot of homes have caught on fire because what was said yesterday, it's still burning. Some people said something 10 years ago and the fire has not been put off. Nobody can put it off because there is such animosity and anger and hatred brought about through those words that were spoken. Man, the person with such power to create anything that comes out of his mouth better have wisdom and understanding and knowledge to the extreme, literally. Perfect wisdom and understanding and knowledge. And God had that. Perfect wisdom, understanding and knowledge, fantastic imagination to imagine and envision. See, God did not create this world by accident, by just a war happened and so this is the outcome. No. Purposefully God created. God was like a person who made a masterpiece work of art. I knew a painter back in those days, quite famous. He went all over the world and had one-man shows and all that. I couldn't believe how much his painting sold for. Thousands of rupees, sometimes lakhs of rupees. Man had such talent. He could imagine things, envision things, and keep it in his heart. He was rich inside, and had such ability with his hands to do modern painting. And he could come up with all kinds of stuff, and heads of nations came to look at his work he has done on canvas, because of his ability. Now, God is 1,000,000 times more able than that. God was able to envision a humanity. God was able to envision an earth like it is today. The earth is wonderful, so amazing, astonishing the way it is created. The sun, moon, and the stars, and all the creatures that are existing here on this earth, and the plant life, and all of that. Look at it, they're so amazing and astonishing. God, in His wisdom and understanding, He brought that about. Not only did He have wisdom and understanding, the power to imagine, envision, purpose, plan, but He also had the power to speak and bring it to pass. Now, you mean to tell me that is not work? Then that means we don't understand what work is. That is work, my friend. To imagine that kind of a world, that kind of humanity, and to bring it past and plan it perfectly and put it into effect and to bring it past, it is something that is amazing that God has done. His infinite power with which He created does not mean that He didn't work. No, it means that He worked, and He literally, the Bible says that in many instances that He had to put His hand to work. He gave shape to man's body when He took the dust out of the ground and made man's body, right? In Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, we are told that. In verse 21, we are told that He took the bone out of a man and sculpted a woman, literally. Literally. And then He dug a garden, planted a garden, literally. Then when man sinned and clothed himself with fig leaves, He came and made a coat of skin by killing an animal, taking the skin and doing literally tailoring work for him and clothed him. So God doesn't think, God literally worked in every way, employed His wisdom, understanding, imagination, power, and everything, plus His hands. He was at work, and that is what we read in chapter 1. But then we see that God sees that His work is good. Do you know in chapter 1 in Genesis, anytime something occurs again and again, you need to take notice. That's a typical thing in Bible study. It's one of the things that you need to observe. If one sentence or one word is appearing so many times, it is saying something. And one sentence that appears again and again is the sentence, God saw that it was good. Appears 7 times. Have you ever looked at why it appears 7 times? 6 days God created, right? 6 days. Each day after creation, He looked and surveyed His creation at the end of the day, every day. He would do everything, create everything for the day, and at the end, He will make a comment. He said, God sees and says, it is good. Second day, He will do the same thing. Finish the creation, then see. and certified saying it's good. Third day the same, fourth day the same, fifth day the same, sixth day, in the first part of the sixth day, he made the animals. He said it's good in verse 25. And then finally, he makes man at the end of the second day, before the closing of the second day. After he makes man, then he makes the seventh time another comment. And seventh time, he says it a little differently. It's not just good, it's very good now. God saw that it was very good. It's amazing. Every day after creation, he makes the comment, it's very good. God says it's very good. That's why it's wrong. The Greeks were wrong to say all material things are evil and bad. It is wrong. God calls it good. If he called it good, it is forever good. What makes this earth possibly bad and utilized as something bad is our mind, our corrupt mind, and our sinful mentalities. That is what makes the earth the way it is. The earth is not bad. It is God made earth. It is good. God said it is good. And in that good earth, God put man and he put him to work. And all of these things were good. So work, this is how work was inaugurated. It could not have had a better inauguration. When work idea was started, God himself exemplified it. God makes man to work and shows that just as man needs food and water and rest and friends and social life and relationship with God and all of that to really truly live human life, man also need another thing called work. Work is very essential for life. Without meaningful work, every person that cannot work and does not work will find a significant inner loss and emptiness. There is an emptiness in that person, indescribable emptiness. You can never find fulfillment without work. Man is designed for work, and to not work is against his nature. That is why without working, man cannot find fulfillment. We all have to live by our nature. Not working is not part of our nature. You see, fish's nature is to stay in water. Why? Because its nature is that it breathes in water. It takes in oxygen through the water. Once you take the fish out of the water and throw it on grass, the grass may be beautiful and good for us to sit around and spend time, but not for the fish, because that's nature is different. As soon as you put it on grass outside of water, it begins to struggle, it cannot move, and then soon it dies. It cannot. Right? So man must work. Why? Because God has designed him for work. Man finds meaning and fulfillment through work because man is designed for work. I heard about a couple in another country. The man worked for a school where he taught special children that did not have mental growth, as they should have. And as he was teaching them, he felt a compassion for them because he realized that even though they study and finish school and so on, they have a certain handicap. They are in a way disadvantaged because of their mental growth. And when they go out, they cannot get proper jobs. And the government of that country takes care of these people. They'll never beg, or they will never come out and end up in the street or anything. They will be well taken care of because the government gives them all that they need. But that doesn't satisfy them. He found that these children that went to school were concerned about how they're going to live, how they're going to work, and so on. And they wanted to work just like anybody worked, and they wanted to earn just like anybody earned. So this man had a vision to create something for them, and he went out and started a company which made several products for many companies, at an assembly line making these things. And today, the company employs 500 of these people, who are mentally slow a little bit, and employs them. And he particularly teaches them skills, trains them for the job so that they can do it as efficiently as any other man who's totally healthy. And he gives them the technology, makes available the technology and tools and the knowledge and the training, everything necessary to excel in their job. He talks about what a great joy and happiness and fulfillment that brings to those people. They don't want the government check. They don't want to take money from the government. They don't want to live on somebody sending them the check and living freely, They don't want it. They're not finding fulfillment and satisfaction, even though that's good and that meets their need. They want to work just like anybody. Why do they want to work? Because they are made, designed by God to work. He says it gives them such a satisfaction to produce this kind of thing so that the children can find their fulfillment. They find their fulfillment. He finds his fulfillment. It's amazing how work brings tremendous fulfillment to people. That is why when you lose a job, have you ever lost a job? When you lose a job, you feel terrible. You feel totally lost. It's very disturbing, a deeply disturbing experience, right? Just to think about it is a very deeply disturbing experience. Why? Because not only because our salary stops and we'll struggle in that way, but because without a job, we find ourselves totally lost because we are designed to work and we are not working. That is the problem. That is the problem. All right? We are made, just like the fish I told you, we are made like that. And we need to realize that freedom, as the Bible teaches, is not removal of all restrictions. Freedom is finding out what restrictions are good for you, for your nature and for your thing, The fish must have the restriction that it should not come out of water. If it comes out of water, dead, gone. As long as it restricts itself to the water, it will have life. When it comes out of the water, it will die. So freedom is not the ability to do whatever you want and whatever you're pleased to do. Freedom is finding out what harms you, what hurts you, what will destroy you, and what will make you excel in what you are. So, the commandments of God are wonderful regarding work. Talking about freedom, people say, don't tell me what I should do. Well, you need to listen to what God tells us. If you buy a car, they give you manufacturer's manual, right? I can bet on it, 99.99% people never read it. Because we think, is this rocket science? We've been having car from our granddaddy's days, and we know how to drive a car. We know how to keep a car. It's not anything big. Don't tell me to read this book that's got 70, 80 pages. I don't want to read it. That's their attitude. Well, there may be some very important information there. If you don't follow that information that the manufacturer gives, suppose you don't change the oil as you should, nobody's going to come and fine you or take you to jail because you didn't put oil in time. No, nobody will come after you. But one day you'll be going from here 200 miles away, and your car will get stuck right on the road. Just stop and go no more. You will be stuck. Why? Because that is a natural consequence of really not following the laws of how a car is operated, not following the manual. Now, let me read to you one verse, a very amazing verse. I just quoted half of it. Let me read to you Isaiah chapter 48. Isaiah 48. And let me read verse 17 and 18. Thus says the Lord your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, I'm the Lord your God, who teaches you to profit. Are you listening? Teaches you to profit. Don't tell me you're not interested in profiting. There are some business people here. Are you interested in profiting? Some Christians think profit itself bad. We should not profit. God says, I will teach you to profit.
In your name, clouds of darkness tremble, Jericho tumbles to the ground. In your name, chains of death are broken, Lord of hosts, holy power out. We have overcome by the name and the blood of the Lamb of God. the camp, at the shout of El Shaddai, every enemy will flee from the fire in his eyes. Every captive will be free in this year of Jubilee. When we hear the shout, El Shaddai. Say one more time. There'll be victory in the camp at the shout of El Shaddai. Every enemy will flee from the fire in his eyes. Every captive will be free in this year of Jubilee. When we hear the shout, El Shaddai. When we hear the shout, El Shaddai. When we hear the shout, El Shaddai. Can you hear it? The thunder in the distance when we worship. The Lion of Judah rose. Strongholds crumble all around us in the presence of our Lord. Praise be to God. Every stronghold must crumble in the presence of the Lord.